We're back with another Safari Pedals plugin. We've got this song with some chunky riffs. We're gonna check it out, dive straight into the plugin. Let's go. So there you have it, you've just heard the track. Welcome back, Chris here. Today we're going to be checking out the new Cobra Fuzz from Safari Pedals. Exciting times whenever there's a new Safari Pedals plugin. I'm a big fan of their plugins, I think they make great stuff. And this one is just another cool one to add to the list. So this is the plugin we're going to be taking a look at today. It's based off an old school fuzz pedal. Sounds really wicked, and I'm going to show how I basically use this plugin in the track I've created today. I've used this plugin throughout the track, mainly on the guitars and the bass, and that's about it. Let's check out what this plugin is doing. Also really quick, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And with that said, let's crack on with the video. So to kick off this video, I'm going to start us off with that intro guitar. Bear in mind, this is what it sounded like before I put the plugin on it. And with it, you can hear adding a lot of that fuzzy character to the guitar. Without it, it's pretty clean, but now we're really getting some good aggressive character from it. Just to quickly break down what you're seeing on the plugin, we've got about 6 or 7 controls. Starting from the top, these are our main controls. We've got sustain, gain, and output trim. The gain, I would say, is your most important control on this plugin because it's selecting different characters, different kind of fuzz characters, basically. So if I flick between them, it starts with pretty clean and then gets more fuzzy. Now the sustain basically controls the length of that fuzz. If you have it really short, you'll get a shorter type of release on the fuzz, and if you have it longer, get a longer type of release. Let's try it on a slightly more aggressive setting. There you heard it. Next, we've got the output trim. This is literally just an output control to adjust for any gain changes in the plugin. Moving down the plugin, we've got our main on and off bypass control, as well as a pre-boost and oversampling. The pre-boost is going to give you 20 dBs of additional gain into the plugin, so it's really going to drive that fuzz circuit. Oversampling is what it is on the tin. It oversamples, will require more processing power from your computer. They've stated in the manual that sometimes this will change the character of the fuzz and might not be exactly what you're looking for, so use your ears and turn it off and on accordingly. If it doesn't sound great, there's no harm leaving it off. But it is meant to help with anti-aliasing and all that good stuff. Now our last controls at the bottom, we've got tone, blend, and width. Tone is like a classic tone control. It's either going to make our sound a lot darker or make it a lot brighter. This will give you a nice bit of control. When you're using a fuzz distortion type of effect, it can be quite chaotic in the top end. You can get a lot of this really bright, scratchy sound. So having a tone control to be able to dial that back a bit really works in your favor. Next up, we've got a blend control. This is just a mix, a wet-dry. It's combining your dry signal with your wet signal. I've got it on 100%, so we're mainly hearing just the fuzz. If I pull it back, we can get a bit of that dry signal coming through. I really liked it on 100%, so I've left it there. Moving on, we've got the width control. This is going to literally add a bit of width to your fuzz whilst keeping the mono dry sound pretty intact. So if I pull it back, we'll start with it completely mono and then we'll spread it out a bit. There you go, a bit of a subtle control, but it's there if you need it. And that's everything. I mean, obviously we have our presets, plenty of presets to play with, but that is the plugin. So with that said, let's check out some of the other guitar tones and the bass. I'll start with the bass actually, because that's the only one on its own. You can see I'm doing a bit of sculpting here with the EQ to help tone the bass around the song. But if we listen to it in solo with and without the fuzz, you can hear what it's adding. Classic character of a fuzz is that it takes out quite a lot of low end. This can actually work to your benefit with some guitar tones, because if you've got a lot of those 100, 200 hertz taking up that low end in your mix, this fuzz will actually clear some of that out and leave a lot more room for things like the bass and the kick drum and stuff like that, which is great. In this case, I'm taking out even more bass on the bass guitar, pushing a little bit more of those mids in the 200 region to really have that bass sit on top of the kick pedal, so, or the kick drum, should I say. If we play that with and without the EQ, you'll hear what it's doing. Lots of bass going on. And now it's more like, it's still bassy, but it's just, instead of here, it's here. It's moved up the frequency range, sitting slightly above where the kick is. I'm literally just using a Travis Barker drum loop for this. I've done a little bit of processing on it, but if we hear it, but you can hear that kick drum is taking up so much low end. So now with the bass sculpted a bit with the Cobra Fuzz, I can actually show you what's going on here. We're using the same settings. We've got the sustain on full, pulled up the tone a bit, but again, we're using full blend. And this width can actually go down to mono. We don't need any width on the bass. I'm going to turn off the Cobra Fuzz first, then the EQ, and then I'll turn them both on and you hear what it's going to do to the sound. So really sitting nicely together. Let's check out some of those guitars I've got 4 tracks of main kind of chunky riffage, and then I've got this 1 track of doing that like lick, basically. These top 2, I'm using my pitch pedal on my pedal board to give me an octave down on the guitar. So we've got something like this. And then I'm copying the same riff, but without the pedal. So we've got the octave up. And so the combo of the two gives us this fat tone. And if we slap the bass on top,
slap that bass, man,
everything's playing the same riff, we get just a nice cohesive sound. Let's listen to what the fuzz is doing to the guitars. I'm going to start the octave down and we'll give that a quick listen. So this is it with the fuzz, and then I'm going to cut to it without the fuzz. So you can hear really transforming that sound, giving us way more character and making it a lot more bitey and in your face. The octave up, the standard tuned guitar, has a similar effect. Let's listen to it with and without the fuzz. Sweet, adding some lovely character to the sound. Lastly, I want to check out what this riff is doing. I'm doing a bit of extra processing on this to give me more of a unique character to the sound. In particular, I'm using this Waves Guitar Stomp plugin to give me this wah-wah sound. One thing I had learned from working at Anderton's was the use of where you stick your pedals in front of different distortions or effects, and they were big fans of sticking a wah before your drive or your fuzz, because then when you open the wah, it can really crunch into the distortion. You can get a really nice character, and I'll show you why that's important. So I'll play it just as is with all the processing. If I put the fuzz before that wah, listen to how it sounds. The fuzz is basically compressing our tone massively, so the wah isn't going to respond. In this case, it's an automatic wah. If you had like a foot pedal wah, it might be a different scenario, but for the case of this, having the wah before the fuzz really gave me a sick tone. Then on top of that, some additional processing. I'm obviously using the EQ, using this hybrid reverb just to give me some early reflections, a bit of ambience, make it sound like a bit of room tone. Can barely hear it, it's on 26%, but it's just giving me a little bit of depth to that sound. But that is basically all of the fuzz, the Cobra Fuzz. How sick is this plugin? I'm definitely going to be using it on a lot more tracks. I really dig the sound you can get from it. It's very adjustable. You can get really extreme or quite mild. I quite like the balance of the two. And yeah, smashed it again. Safari pedals, as always. If you want to check out the plugin, I'll link it in the description below. Also, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'd love to know what you think, so make sure you leave us a comment below telling me what you think, and we'll have a discussion about it. But once again, I've been Chris Vella, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.